I've been playing a lot of Ghost Recon Wildlands lately, and I can't seem to shake out the feeling that this is what Breakpoint could have been. And I'm not saying that Wildlands is perfect and that's an absolute masterpiece. That's not the case, the game definitely has its flaws. But the core gameplay fundamentals of Ghost Recon Wildlands are far superior to Breakpoint. It's impossible to go back to Aurora after playing this and don't feel empty. Ghost Recon Wildlands did a lot of stuff right, the setting being a great example. Roaming the streets of Bolivia just feels right, from the story to the map, all the way to the AI teammates. Wildlands just had a lot more personality. Your teammates, for example, were not there only to assist you, but were a big part of the plots, and the way they interacted with yourself and the world around you was much more interesting. They weren't there for the sole purpose of being there. No, they made jokes, they talk, they will even call out bad guys, and they will warn you if there were civilians around so you didn't shoot them. Each of them had a unique personality. Everything was more unique in Wildlands. Every interrogation sequence was different, every different base you encountered had a small background story and a unique mission to it. And the interrogations, man, that's how you do interrogations. The main story was great as well, and unlike Breakpoint, it never feels like a chore. Every time you beat a mission, you always craved for more, you always wanted to know about the next piece of the puzzle. It was really immersive in those regards. By going around the streets of Bolivia, you could see a huge difference between Breakpoint, as in here, everyone goes about their daily life with complete disregard to yourself. On one hand, you have the civilians who try to somewhat make a living in this broken country. On the other hand, you have the Santa Blanca cartel, the Unidad, the El Sueno presence, and obviously the rebels helping you out. And all of these little factions had their own little story and their own little way of behaving and doing things. You could cross by a slump and go face first against a band of cartel members simply playing football, or just casually cross the street and get spotted by Unidad, and well, we all know what that means. Endless waves of enemies until you either die or manage to escape somehow. Which is another thing that Breakpoint failed miserably. Even the hardest base in Ghost Recon Breakpoint can be cleared in a matter of minutes. Yes, you can get spotted and go loud, and simply hide yourself in the corner until everyone dies. After that, nothing happens. In direct contrast with this, Wildlands combat is a never-ending game of nerve-wracking fighting. The game simply forces you to play tactical, because the stakes are much higher here. Getting spotted was also much easier. It really made it in a way that you had to slow down a little bit and think about what you're doing. It forced you to crouch, to go prone, to check where your enemies are before you make your move. And I'll be honest, sometimes the detection was a little bit broken. You either got spotted by enemies that were just incredibly far away, or by others that were literally looking to the sides. I mean, who knows what the Sicarios were smoking, maybe it gives them special powers or something, but you know what, that's alright, because I prefer a broken detection system that forces me to play more tactical over a Breakpoint system, where the Sentinel PMCs are pretty much blind and you can almost run around them and still do not get detected. Unless you're playing on the higher difficulties, of course. The customization was also much superior in Wildlands. Every piece of gear, plate carrier for example, had a lot more stuff going on. All the way from mag and utility pouches to radios, batteries, GPSs, tourniquets, zip ties, your country's flag on the back, little grenade pouches dangling away, knives, smoke grenades, tarps. I mean, pretty much everything you could possibly want to carry was visible in Ghost Recon Wildlands. And this might not sound like anything special because that's the new normal, but if you take a look at Breakpoint for example, 90% of the plate carriers are simply carrying mag pouches. That's it, that's all they have. It's a direct downgrade from Wildlands in every single level. Even the colors in Breakpoint seem a little bit off. Not to mention, a lot of the good camo patterns and even items like combat shirts are locked behind paywalls. And these same items were staples in Ghost Recon Wildlands. You can't even wear a ghillie in Breakpoint, while there's over 9 different ghillies in Wildlands that you can even use above your already customized gear. The gear is much more realistic, no doubt about that. But not just the gear, the guns were more unique as well. Every weapon had its own little recoil that you need to learn, each sniper rifle had its own like vibrations almost, and the bullets didn't die straight down after 200 meters or so. You could actually snipe people in Ghost Recon Wildlands. There was a reason why you want to take a 50 cal with you, and not just for the simple reason of taking a 50 cal with you. if that makes sense. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just that it has no point in Breakpoint because bullets dive after a certain range, no matter the gun, which makes high range weapons pretty much obsolete. But not only that, there was also more customization options. The optics worked in every weapon, they weren't locked away behind a magical wall like they are in Breakpoint. You could even fold stocks to make them more covert and occupy less screen real estate. Not to mention they look a lot better with the backpack on, and since we are mentioning backpacks, every single backpack had its own little traits to it. From radio packs dangling away to jamming systems, to a simple camelback that is not oversized. The only problem I can really see with Wildlands backpacks is that they sit a little bit too low, but besides that, are much more realistic than Breakpoint's backpacks that you use when you go to school or whatever. The missions were also much more fun and engaging and had some common sense behind them. The game won't force you to explode the container for the simple reason of exploding a container. No, there's actually meaning behind them. There's also multiple stages to every mission. For example, a hostage rescue mission. You don't just go there and rescue the guy. No, you had to learn the province, you had to find the lieutenants, you had to interrogate them and find the hostage. After that you had to free him, and then he will give you information on the captors, which will later on track down and kill. There was a real progression here. It was very engaging in those regards. And it was also a much darker game, in a much more grim setting. It almost made it in a way that you almost fear getting captured, because you will cross by the map and find yourself in a destroyed village with bodies laying around or being piled up into a fire. There was also people hanging on top of trees. It was a true war-torn country. Not to mention you don't have drones, you don't have behemoths, you don't have super futuristic gadgets. Everything seems much more boots on the ground and not over the top. The DLCs were also much better, even the crazy ones like the Predator, they all kind of fitted in the setting. I mean, sure, there's a lot of imagination behind them, but they don't feel out of place. Not in the way that Breakpoint's DLCs do, like the Terminator one for example. And some DLCs even added in new maps for you to explore, which was actually fun, and unlike Breakpoint, you are not fast traveling around the place because it's actually engaging to drive yourself and find new things. You know, the roads are alive, there are civilians crossing by, and if you pass by a patrol, they won't instantly spot you while you're inside the car, which is another problem in Breakpoint. Even if you are inside a totally armored vehicle, you are still going to get instantly spotted. In the end though, neither Wildlands or Breakpoint are perfect, and certainly I only covered the surface as far as things that Breakpoint could have learned from Wildlands. Breakpoint could have been such a huge game. It is so much better than Wildlands in terms of animations, mechanics, and obviously the beautiful graphics, and all of those things make it a good game, but it could have been a masterpiece if it stuck around the same formula that made Wildlands such a big deal. Maybe it's a bit too soon to talk about the next Recon game. At this point, I don't even know if that's going to happen anymore. Believe it or not, Breakpoint is still getting content drops here and there. But if a new game is ever going to happen, I really think they should take a few steps back, look in what the community wants, and put aside the things we don't really like and don't really want. But those are my 2 cents regarding this topic. I would really like to know your opinion. I'm sure there are many things you could add to the discussion, so feel free to do it in the comment section below. But that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you did, a like rating will be greatly appreciated, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, have a good one. CUSTERPLAYS signing out.